Picture life once more as an enormous stage. You walk across it every single day, yet everywhere you turn, the audience surrounds you. Some faces beam with affection, others twist in scorn. Most are simply indifferent. Their voices rise and fall like a great tide. Applause, laughter, criticism, silence. Most of us live chained to this tide. Every step is weighed not by our own inner compass, but by the echo of approval or the sting of rejection. And so one must ask honestly, if the audience decides your movements, who is the actor and who is the puppet? The Stoics of Rome and Greece already lived this struggle. In crowded cities like Athens, Corinth, and eventually Rome, opinion was a currency more powerful than gold. A man could rise to influence through public approval or vanish through public scorn. And yet, the Stoics dared to stand against this invisible empire. Epictetus, born a slave, learned this truth the hardest way. He once said, "If you wish to be free, do not wish for things outside your control. Reputation, wealth, titles, applause, none of these are truly yours." Imagine him as a young boy, chained, owned by another, without status or voice. Outwardly, he seemed the very picture of unfreedom. Yet inwardly, he discovered something astonishing. Even chained hands do not chain the mind. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, commanded legions, wealth, and honor. Yet he too warned himself daily against drowning in the sea of opinion. He wrote in his Meditations, "Glory after death is the same as if children playing gave dolls new titles." From slave to emperor, the message was consistent. Public praise and condemnation are toys of the crowd. Wisdom lies beyond their grip. Think of a mirror that reshapes itself with every word thrown at you. Someone says, "You are weak," and the reflection shrinks. Another says, "You are brilliant," and suddenly you loom larger. But in all this shifting, do you ever truly see your own face? Or imagine a bustling marketplace. Each stallholder screams a new command. Be richer, be slimmer, be louder, be quieter, be admired. You try to please them all, buying each suggestion. Yet after a lifetime of purchases, your hands are full of fragments, but your soul owns nothing at all. Or picture a vessel on the sea. Your ship has a strong rudder, your reason, but every time a voice shouts from the shore, you abandon the helm to follow their cries. Soon the waves fling you endlessly, and your journey shrinks to wandering in circles. Only when you seize the rudder again can your ship cut a true path. And the most powerful image, the theater. The actor who forgets his role because he is listening for applause ceases to act at all. The Stoic insists the play of life is sacred. Perform it well not because of how the crowd claps, but because virtue itself is worth embodying. This lesson was not abstract, but lived out in history. Cato the Younger, enemy of tyranny, was mocked viciously in the Senate for his unyielding honesty. Yet he wore the same plain cloak every day, indifferent to noble fashions. People whispered, and some laughed at his stubborn simplicity. But centuries later, his integrity outlived the laughter. Julius Caesar died with power, yet feared and hated. Cato died with ridicule, yet revered for eternity. Seneca, advisor to Nero, faced the gossip of hypocrisy. How can a Stoic serve a tyrant? Critics mocked his wealth and status. But when the time came for him to die by imperial order, he opened his veins calmly, instructing his friends, as though even death were one more lesson. He proved that judgment cannot touch a mind anchored in philosophy. Epictetus, despite having no riches or lineage, attracted powerful Roman youth to sit at his feet. Why? Because he was untouchable. Offend him, insult him, belittle him, he remained tranquil. That kind of composure is rarer than crowns. From every corner of fortune, from slave to philosopher, from senator to emperor, The anthem was the same. Opinions are noisy clouds, but the sky remains untouched. Fast forward to our own time. The amphitheater has become digital. The marketplace has become social media. A post, a picture, a thought, instantly weighed by the crowd. 100 strangers become judges in your pocket. Approval comes in glowing numbers. Condemnation comes in sharp comments. But ask, how different is this from Rome's Forum? The faces are different, the technology brighter, but the slavery is the same. Ancient applause in marble squares, modern likes on glass screens. Do we not live the same cycle, fearing shadows of opinion? Marcus Aurelius would smile and remind us, they are only men. Soon they vanish. So too their voices, Seneca would caution. Do you wish to know whether you are making progress? Then ask, does the voice of the crowd still command your peace? The Stoics did not suggest contempt for people. They taught indifference to praise and to insult, but never indifference to virtue. One still must act justly, courageously, wisely, temperately. The difference is motive. You do what is right not because it will be admired, but because rightness is its own reward. Imagine a courtroom where the only judge is your own reason. The crowd may howl outside the doors, but the verdict is written within. That verdict, was I just? Was I true to myself? Was I better than yesterday? That is the only trial that matters. How do we practice? Each morning ask, whose approval am I chasing today? And would I still act if it never arrived? Each evening ask, did I betray myself to please others? Or did I live by principle? Picture those who praise you and those who mock you, all destined for death as you are. Will their fleeting voices truly weigh on eternity? Epictetus recommended rehearsing insults silently, imagining them in advance. That way, when a real insult arrived, it struck only the surface. Marcus repeated daily, I shall meet busybodies, ingrates, envious men, not with bitterness, but as reminders that opinion is inevitable. And then remember time itself. The critic who mocked you 10 years ago, do their words still wound? The praise you received 5 years back, is it still feeding you? Both are gone. Both are smoke. Why chain yourself again today? Marcus Aurelius wrote with piercing clarity, all is ephemeral, the rememberer and the remembered alike. When death approaches, no applause and no insult will accompany us. Only one thing remains, whether we lived in harmony with our nature, whether we acted with virtue, whether we walked our path without betraying ourselves. So I return to the same question from the beginning. If tomorrow all voices fell silent, no comments, no praise, no blame, who would remain? That is your truest identity. That is the self the Stoics want you to discover. Let the world cry as it wishes. Let it applaud or condemn. Like clouds, the winds of opinion move on. Yet your sky remains wide and untouchable. Now tell me, whose opinion has weighed the heaviest on you this week? And if that person were to vanish tomorrow, would their judgment still matter? Right below, let this honesty be your first step toward the freedom the Stoics held above all applause.